Dusk thinned the heat, wind dying. Hoofbeats soft along the creek stones. He saw the shape before the color, the torn white cloth, snagged in reeds, moving like a breath. He swung down slow. Leather creaked. Dust settled, no words, no questions. Just action. He knelt. Fingers found an ankle, cold with water. The cloth lifted, trembling in his hands. Her face, half here, half gone. Bruises mapped dark. A mark burned into the wrist, clean, deliberate, cruel. The banker's seal. She flinched. Don't take it off. Just do it, she whispered, voice thin as thread. He froze. The creek kept talking. Coyotes cried farther out. He tasted iron in the air. Memory rose. Another evening, another body left for debt and lesson. Rope, boots watching. A silence that never ended. He wrapped her in his old coat, lifting careful, like lifting a broken rail. Her breath hitched. His jaw locked. He didn't look at the mark again. Barn door sighed when he shouldered through. Hay smell, old wood. His past in every nail. He hung the coat around her shoulders, settled her on a blanket, struck the match. Lamp took. Small sun in a small world. Water, she said. He raised the canteen. She drank, eyes fixed. Name? He asked. A pause. Lamp hummed. Wind-tapped boards. Another time he'd asked a name and buried it before dawn. Later, she breathed. Please. He nodded once. Stoic. Still. Outside, the coyotes answered each other like a promise. He set the lamp near, sat with his back to the door, listening for hooves that hadn't started. He knew what the mark meant. He knew what coming meant. He waited anyway, because last time he hadn't. Morning came gray and heavy. No birds, just the wind through the slats. The rancher opened the barn door slow, eyes scanning like a man expecting ghosts. She was still there, Lila, if that was her name, wrapped in his coat, staring at nothing. Her wrists caught the light. Burned flesh. A circle with an iron R at its heart. Royce & Co., the banker's mark. He'd seen that seal pressed into cattle. Never skin, he poured coffee. Steam rose between them. She didn't touch the cup. Just whispered, he'll come. He didn't ask who. Didn't need to. The brand said it all. He took his seat by the stove, the one that groaned like old bones when it heated. For a while, the only sound was the tick of the clock. Then she tried to stand, fell, the cup shattered. He caught her before she hit the floor, her breath breaking against his shoulder. Name? He asked, voice low, like a man testing if the world still listened. Lila, she said, a name soft enough to vanish. Outside, something moved on the ridge road. Lanterns, maybe. Too early for riders. He stepped to the window. 3 faint lights crawling across the horizon like insects made of fire. He set his shotgun across his lap. Leather creaked. He didn't aim, just held it, feeling the weight, remembering another night lit by flames and debts unpaid. Lila's whisper trembled again. They always come before dawn. He looked back once, slow. Then we wait. The coyotes had gone quiet. The wind hadn't. The rancher stared into the gray until it turned gold, jaw locked, eyes hollow with memory. The lamp burned low. Wind slid through the boards, whispering like the past, trying to get in. The rancher sat with his back to the wall, Lila asleep in the hay, her breath shallow. His eyes weren't on her. They were on the rafters, same beam. 5 years gone, but the image never left. The sound came first. Boots scraping, a rope tightening. His brother's voice, low and proud until it wasn't. Then the thud. He remembered the dust rising when the stool kicked free, the way the barn light swung like a dying sun. He'd watched because they made him, because that was the debt. Royce don't forgive, they'd said. Neither did he. He reached under the cot now, pulled out a small box. Inside, his brother's revolver polished dull by time. He turned it in his hand, slow. The weight hadn't changed. The man hadn't. He ran a thumb across the barrel. Still cold. Still true. Outside, the wind slammed the door. He rose fast, gun half drawn, eyes scanning. No one, just the door banging against its frame. A scrap of paper fluttered against the splintered wood, pinned by a nail. He tore it free. Simple writing. You still owe for it. The letters bled into the grain like the ink knew its place. He stared until the words blurred, until they weren't words, just a sentence carved into bone. Behind him, Lila stirred, He didn't move. Didn't answer. Just stood there with the revolver in hand, the rope still hanging somewhere in memory, swaying to the rhythm of old ghosts. He looked at the letter once more and whispered to the dark. Not this time. Noon burned the horizon flat. The air stood still, too still. Then the sound came, hooves steady and sure, 3 riders. Suits dusted red, ties hanging loose like nooses in the wind. Their horses snorted, breath shimmering in the heat. The lead one, Mason, grinned wide, teeth white as bone. The rancher waited on the porch, shotgun across his lap. Boots on the boards, hat tilted low. No greeting. Mason spat tobacco onto the step. The sound hit like a slap. Heard you're harboring property, Ford, he said, eyes like polished stone. The rancher didn't blink. Ain't seen nothing but cattle, Mason laughed, slow and ugly. Then you won't mind us looking. The others dismounted, hands near their belts. Leather creaked, dust rose. The flies stopped buzzing, even the wind held its breath. Inside the barn, Lila pressed herself against the wall, eyes wide. Through a crack in the boards, she saw the porch, saw Mason's boots, saw the gun. She clutched her wrists, the brand burning again, like it knew its maker was close. The rancher's thumb tapped the trigger guard. Once, twice. Every sound stretched thin. A boot scraping wood, a horse shaking its mane. A single bead of sweat dropping to the floor. Barn looks mighty quiet, Mason said. It's where quiet belongs, the rancher replied. Mason studied him, then smiled that banker's smile. Well, he said, turning his horse, we'll be back at sundown. He spat once more, dark stain blooming on the dust. The men rode off slow, the sound fading down the ridge road. The rancher didn't move until they vanished. Then he exhaled, long and low. The porch creaked, the shotgun lowered. He looked toward the barn, jaw set. Peace had left this land, and it wasn't coming back. Afternoon pressed down like a weight. The ranch hummed with heat, boards ticking, air thick with dust and silence. Lila stirred on the cot, her body stiff from sleep. Across the room, the rancher sat at the table, shoulders hunched, hand steady. Pen scratching slow on yellow paper. She blinked. What are you writing? He didn't look up. Something that won't matter unless they come. The strokes stayed even, measured, like a man counting seconds before a storm. The page filled with names, then stopped at one line. He signed it, folded it once, clean. Lila rose, wincing. You can't fight them, he stood. The chair legs scraped. Didn't say I could. She watched as he reached for his brother's revolver, the old one, metal dulled, grip worn by ghosts. He strapped it to his thigh, motion slow, practiced. Sweat traced a line down his jaw, vanishing into the collar. There's something you don't know, she said. Voice trembling but steady enough. Royce keeps the women he takes. Not dead, just gone. Down in his mines. They don't come back up. Her eyes glistened, jaw shaking. One guard helped me out. He paid for it. The rancher paused. Just a flicker, then gone. He folded the will, slid it under his hatband, and met her gaze. No man owns what breathes, he said quietly. Every word landed heavy, final. Outside, thunder rolled once, low and distant. The sky was still blue. He glanced upward, waiting for the lie to break. Lila took a step toward him. What'll you do? He tipped his hat, shadow cutting across his eyes. Finish what he started. The wind shifted. The thunder growled again, closer this time. The sun dropped low, splitting the sky open, gold bleeding into rust. Sundown, and with it came the riders, 3 again. Dust ghosts on the ridge road. Mason in front, same white smile, same slow swagger. He reined in hard at the gate, hand resting easy on the pistol. You had your chance, Ford, he called. The rancher stood on the porch, shotgun across his arm. Eyes fixed. No hat this time. Sweat and grit clung to his neck. So did you, he said. A breath. Then the world tore open. Gunfire cracked the air. Dust erupted, golden clouds swallowing the yard. The shotgun roared once, kicked hard against his shoulder. One man folded mid-turn. The others fanned out, firing wild. Bullets sparked off the railing. Mason ducked behind his horse, yelling, You think you can fight, Royce? The rancher didn't answer. He stepped off the porch, slow, steady, each footfall leaving prints in blood and dust. A bullet tore through his shoulder. He staggered, then straightened, jaw locked. Smoke drifted like fog around him. The barn door slammed open. Leela burst out screaming, "Ford!" Her voice sliced the chaos. He turned, just enough to see her before another round split the air beside her head. "Get back inside!" he shouted. She froze, hands gripping the post. Eyes wide, breath shaking, the last gunman hesitated, then bolted, galloping into the horizon. Mason rose from behind the horse, gun trembling. He fired once, missed, then again. The rancher's revolver barked back. Clean, sharp, final. Mason hit the ground, dust curling around him. His gun still smoked. The yard went quiet. Only the wind moved. The rancher limped forward, bleeding through his shirt. The world tilted. Mason coughed, voice ragged. "You can't stop him." "Royce will bury you." The rancher knelt, picked up Mason's fallen gun. He fired into the dirt, inches from the man's face. The echo rolled down the valley. "Then tell him I'm coming." He rose, slow and certain, the smoke wrapping around him like dusk itself. Behind him, Lila fell to her knees, sobbing his name into the settling dust. Night fell hard, thick, wet, unrelenting. The storm broke just after midnight, hammering the roof like it meant to wash the world clean. Rain poured through the holes, silver lines cutting through the dark. Lila worked in the lamplight, hands trembling as she stitched the wound in his shoulder. Thread pulled through torn skin with a sound too small for the pain it carried. He didn't flinch. Didn't speak, just breathed through gritted teeth. The candle between them flickered, wax running fast down the tin base. Outside, thunder rolled slow and deep, like a warning too late to matter. She tied the thread off, sat back, eyes glassy from exhaustion. He reached for the revolver, checking the cylinder, reloading one shell at a time. Steel on steel. She watched, voice thin. "Do you regret it?" He set the gun down, looked at her, eyes dull but alive. "Every damn thing," he said. For a while, the rain answered for them both. "You could run," she whispered. He shook his head, slow. "Running's just dying slower." Lightning cracked. For a blink, their silhouettes burned on the wall, two figures carved by pain and chance. Then darkness took them again. He lay back, breath rough, staring at the rafters. "Your name," he murmured. She hesitated, the storm's voice filling the silence. "Lila," she said again, but this time it didn't sound like hiding. He nodded once, eyes closing as thunder rolled farther away. Dawn came slow, crawling over the mud like it didn't want to see what the night had done. The rain had stopped, but the land still bled, tracks of red clay and hoof prints carved deep. The rancher moved quiet, steady. Saddle cinched, revolver holstered. Each motion practiced, almost gentle. Lila stood a few steps away, his brother's coat drowning her small frame. "He'll kill you," she said. Voice small but clear in the cold morning air. He paused, one hand on the reins. "Maybe," he said, but not quiet. The sun broke through, a slit of gold over black earth. The light caught his hat brim, the revolver, the blood drying on his sleeve. He mounted up, the leather creaking like an oath being spoken. From the ridge above, Royce's mansion shimmered, white stone catching fire in the dawn. It gleamed like a coin flipped by the devil himself. Lila watched him ride out, small against the horizon. No words, just wind. When he vanished, she looked down at the porch, at the shotgun resting there in shadow. Her hands found it. She lifted it, eyes steady now. "If you're still here listening," the voice came low, worn by dust and distance, "remember this, some debts ain't paid in gold. They're paid in ghosts." She stepped off the porch, into the red light, and followed his trail toward Hell's Gate.